Good morning. Welcome to our third session of STEP webinar series on behalf of Sharada Ayurveda Medical College and Hospital, Talapadi, Mangalore. We are glad to have our expert guest speakers who will be interacting with you shortly.
We welcome Dr. Anand Katti, Dr. Mansha Eti to the webinar on behalf of Sharada Ayurveda Medical College and Hospital, Talapadi, Mangalore. And we welcome all the students from various Ayurveda colleges across India who are eagerly waiting for the sessions.
Today, we'll be mainly focusing on the topic Samhita and Siddhantha.
We are so happy to introduce our first guest speaker, Dr. Anand Katti, Associate Professor and Head of Department of Samhita and Siddhantha, Government Ayurveda Medical College, Bangalore.
Sir is graduated in BAMS with first class from Karnataka University Dharwad and MD Ayu in Basic Principles of Ayurveda from Rajiv Gandhi University Health Sciences, Bangalore.
Presently, he is a member of COVID Technical Advisory Committee, Government of Karnataka, Assistant Editor, Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences Journal of Ayush Sciences, Bangalore, and PG Preclinical Board of Study Member, Kerala University of Health Sciences, Thrissur.
Sir has featured in numerous radio talks, TV programs, and interviews, etc. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. Over to you, sir.
Sabhayan Namaha Vagarthaviva Samprukto Vagartha Pratipattaye Jagataha Vande Pitaro Parvati Parameshwaru. Offering my salutations to Lord Dhanvantari, thanking Dr. Principal Ravi Ganesh sir, Dr. Sapna and Dr. Manu Krishnan sir for giving me this opportunity to have this session. Which is a sort of a session which is aimed at preparing the students to appear for the exams of the first year BMS.
Excuse me, sir.
So I again explain. You can hear me, right?
Sir? Yeah, sir, can you
Yes.
please share the PPT once? Can you please share
Yeah,
the...
yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
It's visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at the outset, I thank Dr. Ravi Ganesh sir, Dr. Sapna, Dr. Manu for this opportunity to share this platform and interact with you all. The title itself that you have phrased is quite enterprising in the sense that it is titled as STEP, Study Techniques and Exam Preparation for the first year students. And we will be talking exactly the same. I have divided the whole content into three parts. So these are my session objectives. We will be talking about few aspects of importance of Padartha Vijnana as far as the study of fire is concerned. And we will talk about the study techniques relevant for Padartha Vijnana, and we will be talking about some issues related to the preparation for the exams. So these happen to be our session objectives. So in the next 45 minutes, we'll see the division of presentation in three. I try to minutes or 20 minutes like. At the outset, I again welcome and look forward to comments out of Shetty sir, also who is here as the expert commentator on this session. Okay, so when it comes to Padartha Vijnana, obviously there are many wrong notions that are there in the minds of the students, right? This is predominantly because of the fact that the seniors, those who are in the second year BMS or the third year BMS, give some sort of impression to the students which are which they have experienced. And by and large, it's not that they are always correct, right? It's more important for you to trust the teachers than your seniors. So some of the common myth that we come across with when we talk about subject of Padartha Vijnana is said to be the most annoying and toughest subject. It is certainly the most easy and very, very simple subject, right? It is certainly not the toughest subject because it brings about very simple technical terms, simple content. If you look into the whole syllabus of Padartha Vijnana, it is hardly one fourth of any other subjects. And the good aspect of this syllabus is every point in the syllabus will be asked in the exams. Unlike your Sharira Kriya or Sharira Rachana, where you learn so much and only one part of the syllabus will be asked in the exams, it is not like that when it comes to Padartha Vijnana, where in the first part of Padartha Vijnana you have Shat Padartha, and you definitely will have questions on each of those Padartha in your exams. So you have to see the subject in that angle and make it friendly. And when we talk about toughest subject, obviously it is tough if you don't read, if you don't get your concepts correct. But then it is, I often say it, this is like a mathematics. If you write the mathematics in correct way, you have got this opportunity to score maximum. Out of out is also possible. But at the same time, if you get it wrong, certainly you fail miserably. You cramble to pass also, right? So use this as an opportunity to score more. It's not, you should not aim for passing in the subject of Padartha Vijnana. Padartha Vijnana should be viewed as an opportunity to score maximum, to elevate your marks, to elevate your grades, so that by the help of Padartha Vijnana you become distinct and distinction holder. So, and that is the first myth. And it is generally said that it is not or less important. This is also a wrong comment, because what we learn in Padartha Vijnana is the fundamental principles, right? The buildings are built, the buildings are visible, but the foundation is invisible. But the foundation, a strong foundation, is what the Padartha Vijnana is going to do to you. Padartha Vijnana makes your foundation very strong so that everything that you build later upon becomes important. It is not of practical utility is another myth. That is also not correct. All the practical aspects of Ayurveda are based on the principles that you learn in Padartha Vijnana. So therefore, it is the theory on which the fundamental practical aspects of, be it Dravya Guna, be it Kaya Chikitsa, be it Shalya, Shalakya, are all based, standing firm on the principles and the fundamental aspects that we study in Padartha Vijnana. And there are people who say that it is only the philosophical study. No, that is also inappropriate. In fact, it's true that we study the Indian philosophies because we have a purpose to study them, because they are the foundation on which many principles of Ayurveda are dependent. For example, to study the Panchamahabhuta Siddhanta, I have to go to Indian philosophy, because Panchamahabhuta Siddhanta in Ayurveda is an applied version of what we learn in Indian philosophies. So therefore, we do study philosophy, but our study of philosophy is limited to the principles of Ayurveda, because otherwise we will be studying the whole of philosophy if we study the Master of Arts in philosophy, MA philosophy, or BA philosophy of that kind. But here we study only the philosophical content that is relevant to us. Another thing is, another misnomer, another myth can be taught by anyone. That's also inappropriate. Should be taught by someone who has read and understood and gone to the deep into the aspects of Padartha Vijnana. So these are some of the myths that are there in the vogue in the minds of the student. I insist each students to come out of this myth, take away the stigma, and be positive when you talk about studying and approach towards the Padartha Vijnana is. Now, what really is Padartha Vijnana? Padartha is the matter, the substance. We call it as Vastu, right? And we have these various definitions also as Padasya Artha Padarthaha. The word meaning is Padartha. And what is the word? Word is a group of letters which convey some meaning. And therefore, by implication, all small, big, visible, invisible substances will be called as Padartha, right? And the particularly Vaisheshika Darshana comes up with a definition that Astitva, Abhideyatva, Jneyatva are the criteria for calling something as Padartha. Astitva means it should be it should exist. Abhideyatva, it should have some name. And Jneyatva, it should convey some meaning. So if we look into this meaning of Padartha, then everything around us, everything within us, everything, the whole universe is made up of is known as Padartha, right? Matter. And we study Vishesha Jnana of all these Padartha is, we call it, is Padartha Vijnana. Now, that happens in every other study also, right? Whatever be the stream of study, what we learn basically are the various substances and that are useful for the particular stream. So what's great, what's different when we talk about Padartha Vijnana and Padartha in Ayurveda? So when we talk about Padartha in Ayurveda, it comes connected to the Ayurveda itself, right? So I'll briefly run through this slide. We know the fact that Ayurveda is a Jivana Shastra, is a life science, is a Vaidyaka Shastra also, it's a medical science. And the study of Ayurveda is essentially the study of Ayurveda Samhitas. The study of Ayurveda is basically the study of what the Acharya Charaka says, what the Acharya Sushruta says, or what Brahatrayi or Lagutrayi says. So essentially, we are studying the Ayurveda Samhitas. And remember, the Samhitas are written in Sutra, in a language which we call as Samskrita. They are written in Sanskrit language and they are written in Sutra and Bhashya form. And this Ayurveda, which is written in Sanskrit language, the Samhitas, have got their own vocabulary, right? It has its own language. Even though Sanskrit is the language in which it is written, but a normal Sanskrit expert will not be in a position to understand and appreciate it effectively. So therefore, the Ayurveda itself also has got its own language, its own vocabulary. We call it as Swasautnya. For example, the word dosha. Now, dosha for a common Sanskrit teacher means a mistake. For us, dosha is an important concept, right? Likewise, Ayurveda has got its own pada, its own set of words, its own pada, and those pada words have got artha, and padartha of that becomes essential for a graduate of Ayurveda. So the pada jnana, the pada of various words that are used in the Samhitas are to be learnt. Their knowledge, padartha jnana, and their vishesha jnana, the padartha vijnana, the pada artha of each pada and their vishesha jnana, the detailed meaning in its native forms, in its true form, has to happen, right? So that is the first and the foremost purpose of study of the Padartha Vijnana. But then what do we study in Ayurveda? What do you study in Padartha Vijnana? So we basically, the Padartha Vijnana should be Padataha, Tadartataha, Prayojanataha. We should learn all the pada, all the technical terms that we come across with, and their meaning and their use, right? The purpose. So that is what for example, the words like dosha is there, which is a pada which has got a meaning. Rasa, dravya, dukha, chikitsa, swastha, garbha, netra, haritaki, kushtha, vamana, chedana, srutas, etc. So if you look into the set of examples that have been provided, they connect themselves to different branches of Ayurveda again, right? So basically, essentially, the first and the foremost purpose of the study of Padartha Vijnana should be, it should enable the students to learn the pada and artha of each pada, each word that they face, not just in first year BMS, but when they go to second and the third year BMS, or for that matter, throughout their life, whenever a new word comes, they should have sufficient to understand, to go to the core meaning of the word. So that is the purpose and the strength of the Padartha Vijnana. But what do we study in Padartha Vijnana? So therefore, before I come to what do we study in Ayurveda, so therefore, it prepares you to make an entry into Ayurveda itself. So the subject of Vijnana is basically intended to prepare the student mindset to start studying the Ayurveda Samhitas, to start studying the different subjects. Just like how biology, chemistry, physics are essential for the study of modern medical science, Padartha Vijnana becomes essential for the study of Ayurveda. You never understand what is Dosa, what is Haritaki, what are the different parts of the plant, and so on and so forth. Without the knowledge about this Vishesha, your chicken becomes irrelevant. Your chickens have become so therefore, all these plus a proper knowledge of Padartha Vijnana is essential for a thorough understanding, the thorough reading and knowing of the entire of Ayurveda. So, what biology, chemistry, physics are from modern medical science is Padartha Vijnana for Ayurveda, because the principles of Padartha Vijnana are going to help you understand the Ayurveda in a better way. So, what do we really study in Padartha Vijnana, right? We study in we study Indian philosophies, and we study Indian philosophies, the Padartha, the substances, Pramana, we have to learn and see the substances that Padartha. The origin and the creation of these Padartha as phenomenon are understood, and there are like Atma and Paramatma is also an essential aspect of the study of Indian philosophy, and we call it as philosophy Adhyatma, and any
Excuse me, sir.
science which doesn't talk about Atma Paramatma
Excuse
will
me,
not be
sir.
called Adhyatma. So therefore, Atma and Paramatma become essential component. The Karyakarana Siddhanta is important theory which tells you the phenomenal creation of substances and the objects. It's essentially this is what is we study in the Padartha Vijnana, and what we study is the interconnections between the
Excuse me, sir.
how we study the Padartha. We may have different categories of Padartha from different school of thought. Basically, we learn the Padartha. We learn how to study these Padartha, that is, we make use of the tools of examination in the form of pramana, and this is how they get connected, and this is what your syllabus is all about. If you look into the syllabus of Padartha Vijnana, we will generally this the whole of Padartha Vijnana 1 will be talking about Padartha, and the remaining aspect of Padartha Vijnana the what is there bullet points on the screen will be evident in Padartha Vijnana 2. Right. So this therefore the entire syllabus is Padartha Vijnana, because essentially studying the Padartha. So why we study why do we study Darshana? Do we study Darshana? And what the answers? We study Darshana. Yes, that is the no, Darshana is too vast and that is not the soul of fire. So we study that because it has got similarity. We
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Sir, your audio is breaking. Can you please check it once?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, audible.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's audible, sir.
It's okay. Screen is visible.
No. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we talked about why to study darshana. This is because the prayojana is pretty similar. Trivida Dukkha Nivritti is the purpose of study of Darshana and the Ayurveda. And the difference is the Darshana is Sadhya Pradhana. The Sadhya, the goal is fixed in Darshana. That is the attainment of moksha. Whereas Ayurveda is Sadhana Pradhana, where Ayurveda Pramana become important to diagnose the disease. We're not sure what is there at the end, whether the person is suffering from prameha, raktapitta, or any other disease. So that is the basic big difference between the darshana and the Ayurveda. Now, for the study of basic principles, the Padartha Vijnana becomes essential. I mentioned it in the foundation. The foundation is always provided by the Padartha Vijnana and the Ayurveda Samhitas. Based on this, the secondary principles and the applied aspects of Ayurveda, be it practical aspects or the clinical aspects, are dependent. So, the Padartha Vijnana is essential for the study of basic principles of Ayurveda because some of the basic principles, philosophical concepts, are fundamental principles of Ayurveda. For example, when you talk about Lokapurusha Samya Siddhanta, Lokapurusha Samya Siddhanta is a principle of Ayurveda, which is a principle of the Bharatiya Darshana also. So, because we have this Samya Siddhanta, we make use of the Panchamahabhutas in and the Dravyas in Chikitsa also. So Panchamahabhuta, the Pramana Shastra, the Karyakarana Vada, the Atmamana Kaladik Triguna, Trivida Dukkha, these are some of the examples where the philosophical concepts are themselves the fundamental principles of Ayurveda. Just remember a couple of concepts.
Excuse me, sir.
So therefore, we need to study them. And some of the philosophical concepts are directly the applied aspects in Ayurveda. For example, dukkha is there. Suffer is a
Excuse me, sir.
substance
The audio
for
is not clear due
the
to your
Vaishya. For us, the Trisha is an applied aspect of directly the applied aspect of Panchamahabhuta. Use of life because Ayurveda loka and Ayurveda talks about sukha pravritti, right? So all audio is you're not able to hear me. Hello, hello, hello. I have a very good strength and I can hear from your end. from your
Sir,
not
there
really
is some
sure, but
issue with the audio due to network.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that's okay. You just tell me when I should start because I have no issues here.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next purpose of study of Padartha Vijnana happens to be the study for the study of Padartha, Pramana and Prakriya Jnana, which are very relevant for the purpose of Ayurveda Prayojana, because Ayurveda talks about Swastha Parayana and Atura Parayana. The benefit of Swastha and Atura, we need to study what this human body is made up of. We need to study what are the dravyas, what are the basic components, and how do we examine, and what is the processes that are happening within and outside. And all this is understandable only through the Padartha Vijnana, right? The Padartha Vijnana helps us understand the other subjects like the Kriya, like the Rachana, like the Kaya Chikitsa, like the Roga Nidhana in a better way. And the next purpose is for the ease of understanding the Chikitsa Siddhanta, because Chikitsa is basically treatment where we want to bring about some change, and we place it under the category of Karma Siddhanta. We make use of the Samanya and Vishesha Siddhanta, we make use of Karyakarana Siddhanta, we make use of Swabhava Paramavada Siddhanta, particularly when it comes to Nidana Parivarjana, etc. And I have given some examples also, Gurucha Tarpanam, right? We will never understand this shloka if we don't know the meaning of Guru, which is an important guna in the guna context of Padartha Vijnana. And the Jwarado Langhanam Proktam. Langhana is an essential karma that we will be studying in the Padartha Vijnana itself. So, okay, this I have already mentioned. For admission into the Ayurveda curriculum, the Padartha Vijnana becomes very essential. And for true and definite knowledge of Ayurveda, that is the Yathartha Jnana of Ayurveda, Padartha Vijnana becomes important. So those are the some of the aspects, the importance of Padartha Vijnana, why we need Padartha Vijnana in Ayurveda curriculum, why we need to study it in the beginning itself. Even though we study it in the beginning, its utility is not only limited to the first year BMS, but its utility is throughout your curriculum, throughout your entire life. Whenever you come across with any pada, you should get to the core and to the root of that pada and get the meaning. That's what is the purpose of study of Padartha Vijnana. Now, with this background, let me, in the next 15-20 minutes, talk about the two more aspects of today's presentation. That is the step aspect, that is the study techniques and the exam preparedness. What really is exam? What really is exam is also told in the Padartha Vijnana itself, right? The Padartha Vijnana, the second paper, starts with Pariksha itself. Pariksha means comprehensive examination. Paritaha ikshana. Ikshana is to see. Paritaha is comprehensive, right? It's defined as an official test that shows your knowledge, the ability in a particular subject. So what we do in Padartha Vijnana is in the Pariksha is we basically test to what extent you have learned. And I reiterate the fact that you are lucky with the Padartha Vijnana syllabus, that whatever you read, you will be surely asked in the exams. That is, Padartha Vijnana syllabus is designed in such a way that at least one question will come from each syllabus point. No syllabus point go unattended as far as exams is concerned. That also makes you more responsible to give equal importance and due importance to each syllabus point in Padartha Vijnana. Now, this is basically the difference between the mindset of students who are very new to Ayurveda, new to college education, right? Until recently, when you were in school, you had very limited resources to be studied. You had a textbook, and you will read the textbook, understand it, and many times you'll mug up by heart it and go to the exams and vomit it and score more. That's not going to happen in the college education. The college education, where you are most of the times self driven, right? It's you who will go to the library based on your curiosity, your interest, that you will learn. And the volume of information that is available is just too much. It's a humongous, a load of informations are available, and therefore you just remember you can't cover everything. So therefore it's essential for you to plan in advance and go ahead with your preparedness for the exams, for which you may have to have some strategies. Some of the strategies I will be telling in the subsequent sessions. Okay, why this is important? Because one of the reason this is a tricky scenario that we are in with, right? The situation is where the principals will ask the HODs what is the performance of our students, why our students are failing, who in turn will pressurize the lecturers, and lecturers will obviously have no other way to pressurize you. So it is a pressure in one sense. The pressure, the stress can be viewed in two ways. They can be eustress or distress. Eustress is where you convert this stress into positive energy and make the best of out of yourselves. So whatever, when your teachers ask you to, have you studied that, why your performance is not good, then don't take it in negative sense. Take it in a positive sense and try to be a better student. Give try to give a better performance in the next exams, is what is the message that we should imbibe from this picture. Now, when it comes to exams, there are certain key factors. So, student, as you, there is a given syllabus, scheme, and the pattern, the question paper, answer paper. Okay, we will talk about each of them one after the other. We'll not talk about scheme and the pattern, the answer paper, which will be, which are very common to other subjects also. So, no need to spend time on them. So, just see the picture where you stand, and you have, where is your goal, right? You have to write, basically reach to the other end of this cricket pitch, where you are first in your at the entrance of your first year exams is there, then you have to get through. So one of the important point that you should remember is you have to clear the first year subjects in the first year itself. If you fail, then the burden on you increases tremendously, and your performance will be compromised. Your performance will not be as good as you want it to be. So therefore, give yourself the best opportunity, best possible. Take this as an important message. You have to clear all the subjects of first year in the first attempt itself, and you have to not just clear, come up with a flying colors, with a distinction, with a maximum scores also. That should be there in your mind as a student. Okay, so when we talk about syllabus has been provided to you, right? The first Padartha Vijnana talks about the Ayurveda Paribhasha and the Siddhanta, followed by the Darshanika Prashthabhumi. Then it talks about Dravya. Then we have Guna, Karma, Samanya, Vishesha, Samavaya, Abhava. That is the syllabus point for syllabus bullets as far as first Padartha Vijnana is concerned. The second paper starts with Pariksha. Then you have Aptopadesha, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Yukti, Upamana, other pramanas which will be included in the Trivida Pramana. Then you have Karyakarana Siddhanta, and this will be followed by 25-mark syllabus for Ayurveda Itihasa. For Ayurveda Itihasa, I have a separate slide, I'll not touch here. But as far as Padartha Vijnana syllabus is concerned, you have to divide the syllabus into 3 divisions. Must know, desirable to know, nice to know. Now, what is must know? Just remember, all the definitions are must know, right? All the definitions, be it Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya, Vishesha, Samavaya, Anumana, Pratyaksha, everything. And the sub definitions. The classifications also belongs to must know category. If we talk about dravya, sendriyam chetanam dravyam nirindriyam achetanam, chetana achetana dravya classification is must for everyone. Different classifications of dravya fall in the category of must know, right? So the savikalpaka nirvikalpaka pratyaksha, if it is pratyaksha, right? If it is the classification of anumana, there are different classifications of anumana, all become a part of your must know component as far as the syllabus bifurcation in three level of understanding is concerned. So all the definitions that you find in Padartha Vijnana, all the classifications that you find in Padartha Vijnana are in the domain of must know. Each student must know them compulsorily. Now then, when we talk about the applications of these, for example, if I'm talking about the applications of Kala in Ayurveda, I have around 15 points. It's desirable for you to know at least 10 or 12 of them, right? It's desirable for you to at least know 10 or 12. So when you have these applied aspects, you have certain liberty. You have certain liberty of skipping, or it should not matter for you if you forget 2 or 3 points also. If you remember the major chunk, the large section of your applications, it's good and fine. Then nice to know. It is nice to know is the last segment of your syllabus, where it is expected for the student not limit himself to what is there in the textbook. So reading beyond the textbook becomes essential. For example, when we talk about Nyaya Darshana, you have textbooks which give you a basic idea of what is Nyaya Darshana and how they are, to what extent the Nyaya Darshana is essential for the study of Ayurveda. But then, on the contrary, if you read a couple of articles on Nyaya Darshana, if you read the Nyaya Sutras themselves in their native form, then that information becomes very important. When you go on in your examination, you are more confident because you know slightly little extra, and extra information makes you more confident when you face the exams. So this is how you have to divide the syllabus into the three divisions: as must know, desirable to know, and nice to know. Now, I will now talk about some techniques that are going to help you in the study of Padartha Vijnana. First thing that you should remember is make a glossary of technical terms. Now, this is very essential because the whole of Ayurveda is entirely different study, because you had until now no exposure to Ayurveda, and therefore all the words, terms that you come across in the study of Ayurveda are entirely new to you. So, how do we know the new terms? How do we know the new words? So, new words, the new terms have to be given more importance, for which you have to make a glossary of technical terms. So, this is a part of notes making itself. Whenever you are dealing with any subject, any syllabus point, all the words that that syllabus point talks about, make a list. Make a list, write its meaning in front of it, and whenever time permits, go on reading it. So I have made the list of the subjects that are essential in the first syllabus point of first paper of Padartha Vijnana, which talks about Ayu and Ayurveda Paribhasha. Right? So we have technical terms like Ayu, Veda, Ayurveda, Hitayu, Ahitayu, Sukhayu, Dukhayu, Dhari, Jivita, Nityaga, Anubandha, Chetananuvritti, Sharira, Indriya, Sattva, Atma, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Anadi, Swabhava Samsiddha, Bhava Swabhava, Nitya. These are some of the technical terms that are a part of first syllabus point, right? So all these are very new to you. So as a student, it's your it's your duty to make a list of all those terms and write their meaning just in front of them, so that next time you just have to just review them, just scan through your eyes once, you will be confident, you'll be knowing them meaning. And when you all these will help you in detailed understanding of the Ayurveda and the Padartha Vijnana itself. So I have given on screen the glossary of technical terms related to first syllabus point 1.1, obviously, and you have to do extend the same with all other syllabus points, right? Make a glossary of technical terms and write the meaning just in front of them. That's the first study technique that you should follow. And Satata Adhyayana is an essential component of any student, for which itself there is one of the Paradi Guna which says Abhyasa. Abhyasa means Bhavabhyasanam Abhyasaha Shilanam Satata Kriya. So Satata Kriya, repetition is essential component of any reading, right? And reading, studying is a hard work, and hard work only pays. It's not the luck that always pays. 99% it is hard work, and only 1% will be the luck. So you have to study, you have to sit and study well. And when we talk about study, okay, one thing that you should remember is you cannot depend only on one textbook. No textbook available in the present day are complete in all aspects. All the I have, with great regret I have to say that all the textbooks that are available in today's era regarding Padartha Vijnana are just like notes. They're not comprehensive textbooks at all. So therefore, at least you should focus on two textbooks, at least two. So one you can buy, one you can borrow from the library, or one from your own friend. So this is essential, right? The textbooks that you see, be it, I don't want to name anyone, but most of them are intended with only the purpose of exam. What you should remember, that's not the purpose of textbooks. Is always, textbooks are there for the detailed understanding of the content, and which unfortunately none of these textbooks are doing it. So therefore, when it comes to textbook, but because you don't have any way, you have to go to the same textbook, and at least I insist, make sure that you read at least two textbooks. One textbook is certainly not going to be sufficient. So that's the aspect of reading the textbooks. And read beyond the textbook is what is I mentioned in the previous slide also. So for example, for Nyaya Darshana, read what is there in the textbook, along with get some inputs on Nyaya Sutras. The same applicable for Vaisheshika Sutras. Get into the multiple books. Different authors will have different views, and all those views are very essential as a student for you. And look into previous published books, because when I say previous published books, look into the books on Padartha Vijnana that were published 20 years back. The books that were published 20 years back are having more values, are more valuable than the books that are published 2 years back. So that is an essential message that you should keep in your mind. Previous published books. To name, for example, there is a Padartha Vijnana in English. There is a Padartha Vijnana published by Dr. Agnivesh, which is a better book compared to the most of the books that the most of the students in Karnataka read. So that's as far as the previous published books is concerned. Then you should give Tarka Sangraha the due respect and the attention. One of the most neglected part of our study happens to be the Tarka Sangraha. Just remember, the whole of Padartha Vijnana is just as what we find in Tarka Sangraha. Tarka Sangraha is a book written on Nyaya Vaisheshika by an author called as Annam Bhatta. If you write the original sutras of Tarka Sangraha in an A4 size paper, they will not exceed more than 4 pages, right? And I repeatedly tell my students, by heart these 4 pages, you're done with the whole of Padartha Vijnana. If you by heart these four pages, then the entire Padartha Vijnana is finished. You can bring the very same shlokas into the answer papers and take the best results. So just remember, my dear students, Tarka Sangraha should be used as a strength. Tarka Sangraha is the small book which completely talks about the every aspect of Padartha Vijnana except Karyakarana Siddhanta. So that's the study technique that you should follow. Now, when you study a particular concept, then you have to pull in examples, right? The concepts are simple. For example, when we talk about dravya, it's very simple. I define it as yatrashritaha karma gunaha karanam samvayata dravyam. To explain it, you have to pull as many examples as possible, right? So the textual examples are there, ghata, pata, etc. are there, but then they're not sufficient to give a comprehensive idea of your understanding. You have to bring as many examples from Ayurveda also. So when the dravya is asked, you have to tell the dravyas of Ayurveda also. The dosha, the dhatu, and the aushadha dravyas, they all are the examples for dravya. And at the same time, you have to pronounce what is the guna and karma that are there in the dravya. Unless until you justify that there is guna and karma that are there in the dravya cannot be defined. So right, for like that, pull in examples. For examples, if the kala is asked, you have so many context of kala in your Ashtanga Hridaya itself. Connect it to the various kala. Connection between the subjects is also very essential, right? You have to connect the Padartha Vijnana to the Sharira Kriya and Rachana, because they are there in your first year BMS itself, right? They are there in the first year BMS itself. So when I talked about the connections, I generally talk about the connections. I just said desha, you talk about trividha desha, bhumi desha, atura desha. Bhumi desha, atura desha pariksha becomes a part of your sharira kriya itself, where we talk about study of prakriti and so on and so forth, and Jangala Desha. So that's how they get connected. The Kala I mentioned, Kshanadi Vyadhyavastha, is one Kala that you study in Padartha Vijnana. How it gets connected? It gets connected to Dinacharya of Ashtanga Hridaya. It gets connected to Rutucharya of Ashtanga Hridaya. It gets connected to Ratricharya of Ashtanga Hridaya. It gets connected to Kala Hetu of Ashtanga Hridaya. It gets connected to Aushadha Sevana Kala of Ashtanga Hridaya. It gets connected to Ahara Kala of Ashtanga Hridaya. It gets connected to Chaya Prakopa Prashama of the dosha in the very same Ashtanga Hridaya. It gets connected to Shodhana Kala. So connect between the subjects, and that will add that will add robustness to your understanding. And if you bring the connections in the exams also, then your value of answers will be more, and develop the ability to explain and comprehend. This is because whenever we talk about writing a theory exams, it is just not one sentence or two sentences that is enough. Your ability to comprehend, ability to explain, ability to bring relevant other information from the other segment of your study becomes essential, and there these connections will help you, right? So connect the subjects of the content of Padartha Vijnana with the other subjects that you are studying in the first year BMS itself. That's an essential study technique. And then whenever you start studying, set goals. Say for example, today I'm going to study the first syllabus point. Now set goals. That's a goal. Now accomplish them, and just accomplish. Then make sure that you do end up with that goal at the end of the day, because failure will certainly start making you less confident, and negative vibrations will start. So set goals and accomplish. Say, for example, I will study the Pariksha, which is the first syllabus point of Padartha Vijnana today. Then after that, you keep some small baby steps. Now, what do I do? When I say Pariksha, I will study, I will keep some small steps. Like, for example, I will study what is Pariksha, what is its importance. That's one step. I will study what is Pramana, what are the different definitions of Pramana. That's one small step. I will connect the Pariksha with the Pramana and see the difference and the common things. That's another baby step. I will make now the list of Pramana according to different philosophers. That's another baby step. Then I will try to include all these different pramanas under the banner of Trivida Pramana, that's another baby step. If you do it, then you have kept some small steps to accomplish one big step, that is the study of the whole of Pariksha, which is the first syllabus point of Padartha Vijnana 2. Now, another important study technique would be the small group activities. You have to this is an essential, very useful technique that you should follow. Make a group of 4 or 5 friends and discuss. For example, the darshana is a syllabus point. Now, if there are 4 members in a study group, just tell, you read Vaisheshika Darshana, she reads Nyaya Darshana, someone will read Sankhya Darshana, and someone will read the Yoga Darshana, and you have a discussion at the end of the day. In the evening, you will discuss. Meanwhile, you will also glance at the other darshanas and go attend that discussion, where someone who has read completely Nyaya Darshana will explain the Nyaya Darshana to the remaining 3. Someone who has read Vaisheshika Darshana will explain the Vaisheshika Darshanas with the remaining 3, and so does Sankhya and Yoga also. Now, in meanwhile, when the one is explaining, the other will be listening carefully and will do the value addition also if he knows anything extra. So that's how small group activity is going to help you learn more in less time and be more confident also, because when you read and repeat it, it is going to remain in your memory for longer time. Okay, this is the guidelines for the 25 marks Itihasa section. Don't expect the long questions. Make a list of personalities and gather 2, 3, 4 relevant points for them. Be it Charaka, Sushruta, Vagbhata, Sharangdhara, Bhavamishra, or the Gadanath Sen, Yamini Bhushan Roy. Make a list of personalities and remember 2 or 3 important points connected to them. That's how the Itihasa should be learned. Make a brief notes on the books or the Samhitas. The books later, when we talk about Sangraha Kala, the Pratyaksha Sharira, and just remember, when you talk about books and Samhitas, you just remember the author. Most of the times, the author will be there in the list of personalities, and the books would be there in the segment of book, and they get connected. So most of the times it so happens, if the question is asked on Charaka, you will have to write about Charaka Samhita also. If the question is on Charaka Samhita, you will have to write on Charaka also. So therefore, these connections are to be known, and you have to remember these connections. And then anticipate few questions. Just have a glance at the past papers, and most of the questions are repeated in themselves, and the same questions will be asked again. And for this syllabus point, which talks about the Ayush, CCIM, TKDL, NIA, IPG, TRA. So these are words there in the syllabus point. First thing, then, when any questions are asked on this syllabus point, is you should elaborate them, right? You should elaborate, and I just insist you have a glance at the website of these institutions also, which will give you a basic idea of what they stand for. And okay, another important point is make notes, and just remember, don't depend on others' notes. Notes are highly subjective. That is, what is important for you, you will note down it, and therefore your notes you have to prepare yourself. You cannot use the others' notes for your studies. And use travel time, another important. In a city like Mangalore, where you travel from one place to your college, substantial amount of time is spent on the travel. Make best use of travel time. Keep listening some sessions, keep by hearting the shlokas. So that's how you can utilize the travel time. I have given one resource on screen. This is a YouTube channel called as Simply Ayurveda, which have got a 20-25 minute, 15 to 20 minute YouTube videos on most of the syllabus points of the Padartha Vijnana. You can see those YouTube videos when you travel. So that's a very useful way of study technique. Now, when you study, you have to have a good study environment also, right? Set the stage. When you study, you have to have, first thing is you have to have a good previous night's sleep. Switch to your study environment, right? Your environment decides how long you will study. So stick with an environment that work. Maybe the place that you are more comfortable in your room, the place maybe on terrace you find more comfort, maybe in front of the your home you sit and read. So just find whatever is more convenient environment for you that works, and then eliminate distractions. Distractions are not going to help you anyway, and the major distraction for any study is this mobile phone. Keep all notifications on your mobile phone off, particularly that WhatsApp. When a message pops up and you start chatting, and suddenly your 15-20 minutes are taken away, 15-20 minutes that WhatsApp will take away, and you end up with shortage of time. So eliminate distractions, all possible. Identify the distractions and eliminate. Snack on good food. Overeating obviously will make you lazy, dizzy, and sleep. So therefore, give a thought on what you eat, how much you eat. Equipping your study area with all materials. Say, for example, I made a mention that you should have at least 2 books. Then make sure that you have essential, the highlighter, the pen, the pencils that are essential, because the studying involves that when you read something, then you have to highlight it, you have to make some marks, so that you, when you come back to that segment again, you remember something relevant for that. So keep equipping study area with all materials is very essential, and know the mechanism of learning, right? Reading is not studying. Just remember, my dear students, reading is not studying. Studying is when you give your 100%, you focus it, you connect you understand and connect it to the different aspects of your subjects. So different parts of studying are previewing, attending class, reviewing. So immediately after your class, you have to review it. Then you study it and check whether you have understood it by asking yourself. And then stick to the print. This is an important, because most of this COVID pandemic has exposed us to various online versions and the PDF views, etc. Most of the times, those who are using only mobile, reading a content PDF on the mobile will not be that much comfortable than reading a textbook. So just take, if there are notes or the PDFs that are available, make sure that you take a print of it and stick to the print. So that's how the stage for study can be set. Then retrieval practice. Once you study, then you have to ask yourself, have I studied it? Have I understood it? Can I answer it? Can you recollect it? Right? Self quizzing is what we generally say. If you study darshana, then ask yourself, what I have studied, what is this darshana, what is the purpose of this darshana, what are the padartha according to darshana, what is the pramana according to darshana, what is the main message that this darshana is giving to the Ayurveda, what is the connection between Ayurveda and this darshana. You, after ask this question and retrieve the answers, then your study is complete for that syllabus point. And spaced practice. So you have to have a study timetable which is flexible enough, and you have to be accommodative. That is, you cannot give entirely one day to Padartha Vijnana and entire one day to Rachana. No, that doesn't work. You have to divide the day into the subjects itself, and spaced practice is very essential, for which you have to have your own timetable also. Paraphrasing and reflecting, right? Whenever you read anything, after reading it, you have to tell the very same thing in your own words, right? In your own words you have to tell it. Maybe you tell it to yourself, or you tell it to your own friends in a small group activity. Then test yourself, am I 100% confident on this topic? Am I prepared well for this topic? Is another essential aspect of studying. And I already mentioned color coded notes. Whenever you make notes, whenever you put any highlight on the book, just used different colors, so that each color, maybe red becomes very important, maybe highlighting with yellow inflorescence will give you the value. So that kind of activity will help you study well and score more. And the scientists have said that a little exercise, a small walk for 5 to 10 minutes can trigger your mental activity, your neuron, mind activity, or your brain activity can be stimulated by little exercise. And so, exercise, small exercise before the studying is also going to be of use. So these are some of the study techniques. So some of the ineffective techniques are reading is not studying. Just remember, you just go on reading it. That's not going. You have to understand it, and then that we call it a study. Studying for longer periods of time is not a good move. You cannot spend the whole entire day on Padartha Vijnana. You have to stagger it, you have to differentiate, you have to bifurcate it. Study single subject for long period of time and repeating phrases over and over, reading the same. For example, I'll read Darshana for 10 times and finish it. That's not a good move at all. Then, okay. So reviewing the notes, the notes of others are their notes. You have to review your notes, right? These are some of the ineffective techniques. So another thing is never do multitasking. We are in an era where we want to do too many tasks at the same point of time. So as far as study is concerned, multiple tasking never helps. So that's about how the study techniques. Now we shall look into the writing skills, right? So make sure your handwriting is very legible and you complete your sentences. You divide the answer into paragraphs and points, bullet points, and alphabetical the Roman numbering instead of symbolic bullets. When you talk about bullet points, for example, I'm talking about the utility of Kala in Ayurveda. I have 10 points. Write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 like that. Don't just put star, asterisk, something of that sort. That you can use it as a trick if your applications are not many. If you have got only 3 or 4, then you can use it. But when you remember more things, then just go on putting the numbers. The quote references wherever applicable. This is an essential aspect. If you know a shloka, you have written a shloka, if you know that it is from Charaka Samhita, you write it that this is from Charaka Samhita. The references add value to the answers. Underline the keywords. I'll tell you about the importance very soon. Proper alignment and adequate spacing, because the answer booklets should not look unorganized, shabby, disorganized. It should look pleasant to the evaluator. Do not use colloquial or abbreviated. Do not use your SMS language. We are in an era where we write in a very short form, right? Short forms are not going to be useful in any theory exams. Expansion, full writing is encouraged, and stick to when it's a long question, when it's a 5-mark question or 10-mark question, give the explanation, give the interpretation, the inferences, and conclude with a proper conclusions. uh, should I write question? Should I write reference? Yes, wherever possible. Do I write to bibliography? No need. Can I write numbers as numbers? Yes, obviously. Can the introduction be quite short? Yes, you can have a small introduction with a big body. It is applicable for 10-mark questions. Spellings are very essential. Make sure that you get your spellings correct. Make sure that your handwriting is correct. Make sure that what you write is legible and readable. This I will skip. Now, when the questions are given in your question paper is there in your hand, you have to identify the verb in the question. When it is asked to define, make sure that you define. It is seen that the students write anything and everything except the definition. Now, if the question is asked as define, make sure that anything and everything relevant would be received well only when you write this definition also, right? So if it is define, define it, explain, explain it. If it is enumerate, make 1, 2, 3, 4, and go on enumeration. If it is differentiate, then you have to make two tables, right? Two tables on one, particularly differentiate between Prakriti and Purusha, right? On one table, you have to write all about Prakriti, and one table, you have to write all about the Purusha. The differences, one opposite the other, you have to differentiate in that way. So distinguish, classify, you have to follow the charts, flow charts, etc. when it is asked to give classification. So identify the verb in the question and write accordingly. So I'll just read these slides because it's already 12. Read all the questions carefully. Make a list of questions based on easy or difficulty. Start with easy questions and prefer starting with less mark questions. And manage time and review. You have to manage the time in such a way that you have to keep at least 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes at the end to have a proper review of answer. You have to read the whole of what you have written once again. Whenever you read it, you will find some faults that you can correct. You find some more relevant point that you can add. So therefore, reviewing the answer is very essential. So to review, you have to finish it 10 or 15 minutes before the last bell. And don't leave the hall till the time ends, because you don't know when a new idea comes to you. You don't know when a new information suddenly flashes your mind and you add to your paper, and that can fetch half marks. Half marks can make a big difference in the end. Okay. Your approach to 3-mark question should be write in 4-5 sentences in a paragraph. And most of the times these questions will be direct. And whenever you're asked to enumerate or enlist, it's wrong that is there. You have to do it vertically, it's not horizontally. One below the other. Say, for example, if Shatpadartha are asked, write Dravya, below that write Guna, below that you write Karma, Samanya, Vishesha, Samoya, not one after the other. One after the other will be difficult for readers, for evaluators also. If you write one below the other, it becomes easy. And since the papers are given with abundant spaces, you need not worry much about the papers, right? Paper space enough. 52 pages is given by the university. So for 5-mark question, answer in 2 or 3 paragraphs. Explanation is expected, and try to put at least 1 shloka per answer. That adds value to your paper. And when it comes to 10-mark question, read the question again, right? Read the question. What exactly are the key aspect of the question? What the question really is asking you to do? And then when you know what you have to do, then plan your answer, how you will write it. Maybe you can use the last sheet to plan what should be there in your introduction, what should be there in the body of your answer, what should be your interpretation of the inferences, and how you will conclude it. Just remember, all these are very essential when it comes to 10-mark question. 10-mark question, you should aim at scoring 7 or 8 at least. Right? Then set introduction, build your answer, divide the answer into different components, add examples, and make sure I am providing you a checklist, and make sure that all these components are there in the answer. This I generally ask to my students, which one you like, right? One side you have plain rice, and the other side you have vegetable pulao. Obviously, many students will come up with this answer, I like the second one, the vegetable pulao. I ask the reason why, because they have, it has got, it's more pleasant, it's more colorful, it has got more ingredients, it is more healthy. So those are the reasons. Just remember, your answers should not be like this plain rice, rather it should be like this vegetable pulao, where you add so many things, so many ingredients to make it look pleasant, look attractive. So what are the ingredients that you can add are the shlokas. The shlokas are essential part of any answers, particularly for long questions, for long essays, 10-mark questions. So you have to write Sanskrit words in Sanskrit itself, right? Sanskrit words, writing Sanskrit words in English is not a good option, not a good practice. If it is a technical term, you have to write it in the Sanskrit word itself. When asked about the classification or etc., you can bring about the charts. Particularly when Pancha Panchaka is asked, you have to write it in a chart with a brief introduction in the beginning. When the classifications are asked, you have to provide the flow charts. You can bring about the tables. You can bring about the pictures and the drawings. For example, when we talk about Panchikarana Siddhantha, you can bring about the drawings. You can bring about the various nyayas that talk about the ekatva and anutva of manas, etc. You have to bring about pictures and drawings relevant to the question. Then make sure you have titles and subtitles in your answers, right? And underlining, through underlining you highlight certain aspect is an essential. You have to have all the time the ruler and the pencil when you write any theory exams. You have to key essential aspect have to be underlined, and if you do all these, then these will attract the mind of the evaluator. You will reduce the burden of evaluator will quickly evaluate and give the good number of marks to you and go forward. So one of the art of scoring more is to reduce the time that the evaluator spends on your paper. If the evaluator finishes your paper in less time, then obviously most of the time it means that you have conveyed your content effectively. So with these inputs, I thank the organizers for giving me a platform to share my views on how should be your approach towards the study and the writing of the exams related to Padartha Vijnana. Again, thank everyone. And if there are any questions, I'm here to take. I stop talking now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anand Katti sir, for being here by spending your valuable time and joining with us today.
Thank you, sir, for breaking the myths on Padartha Vijnana and giving us the clear and clever study techniques.
Thank you.
Now we are moving on to our second speaker, Dr. Manjusha A.T. Ma'am has completed her BMS from Pankaja Kasturi Ayurveda Medical College and Hospital, Trivandrum, and pursued post-graduation from Amrita School of Ayurveda, Kollam. Her PG thesis was on the topic defining and enumerating Nyayas from Charaka Samhita with Gangadhara commentary.
Ma'am has secured Best Thesis of Year 2016 and the first class status in final year PG exam. Ma'am has presented a journal titled Nyaya and its Relevance in Ayurveda in Global Ayurveda Festival, Kozhikode. Ma'am has also participated in International Ayush Conference and Exhibition on 2017 at World Trade Center, Dubai, UAE.
Presently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Samhita and Siddhantha, Sharada Ayurveda Medical College and Hospital. Let's welcome ma'am for the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Kushi and Akila. Shuklam Vardaram Vishnu Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashante. Good afternoon. So we have heard a detailed explanation how to prepare the Ayurveda Padartha paper. Now we can move to the study techniques and exam preparation of Maulika Siddhantha Yavashtanga. So these are the objectives which is followed in this particular presentation. Before moving to anything, any preparations, you should keep this thing in your mind that smart work and hard work should go in hand. Always everyone will be saying you that hard work is the work to the way to the success. Yes, it is true that hard work, it means that is it is effectively working, efficiently doing, using your intellect properly and maximum efficiency. But smart work, it will also help you. That is, smart means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound plan you are preparing for your success. So you should always place smart work with hard work so that you surely will lead to the success. So to be a smart work, what all thing we can do is these are the points. So one by one we can see. First, set a study schedule. That is to become a smart work. First thing you want to do is you should prepare your own study schedule. Don't copy it from someone else, because every person is different, and it should not be too much complicated, and it should be specific, and you should allow free times also in that, and stick on the schedule and review it in every week, every day as possible, and stick on that and complete your schedule. Next point is most difficult first, because when we are starting our studies, we will be we will be fresh, our time will be good, our energy will be good. So first you want to start with the harder task, so that when the harder task is finished, the remaining everything will be easy for you, and you will be completing all the sections effectively on time. Make use of your own study notes. While we are reaching the exam, we are having the fear that do we have the study notes? You should collect all the notes, write the whole syllabus point, and you should check that all the notes are available with you. Arrange it properly in sequence and write the notes properly, which it should not be some cut and copy from your teacher's note or test book or online. You should write your own notes in your own hand, with which it should be visually appealing, and it should be handy to carry with you, and it should be written in different colors. And in Maulika Siddhanta, you should have these specific 3 revision notes with you. That is important point notes. That now I will be saying which are the important points in each chapter, and that particular important point specific note should be there with you. And important sloka notes. Till now, 1 year has getting over. Till now, which all sloka you have studied, that slokas a note should be with you. And important keynote notes. That's keynote notes. Whenever you are studying one topic, that topic's keynotes you should mark, and that keynote should be written in a small note, that when before you enter into the exam, you want to just read that keynote notes and get into the exam, so that you will be knowing every topic's keynotes, so that you can elaborate it into 10 marks or 5 marks or 3 marks. So these are the must notes you should keep for a Maulika Siddhanta exam. That is important point notes, that is must note topics, important point notes, and important sloka notes, and important keynotes notes. Then study with a goal. Goal should be specific, smart, that is measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. By setting a goal, you will be reaching to the correct direction. If no goal, no direction, failure. And it is first you should set a main goal, and section goal should be there, and you should review that you are attaining every day your goal, so that within 1 month you are going to face the exam within 1 month. So within 1 month you will be finishing all your portions you want to study. Now understand your study cycle. You should be, now it is time for the exam, and exam preparation has reached, so you should be an effective learner from today onwards. Don't waste your time, always study based on the schedule, review that you have finished everything, and check you have understood everything, and see that process that you have planned, whatever you have planned you have done properly. Review it again and again, and don't repeat the topics again and again, so that you will not lose the time. Find your comfort zone. All the people will be saying that step out of the comfort, then you will be reaching the success. But I am against that in the case of learning, because to get to be properly learned, or whatever if you are doing, if you are in a comfort zone only, you will be able to do it properly. Otherwise, you will be reaching into a panic zone, and you will not be able to study it properly. So, be effective with your studies, and be effective. Find out your own studying plan, learning plan, study preference, study methods, and do it satisfactorily and find a comfortable place and comfortable environment and study. That is to define your comfortable zone. Quality or quantity. You will be very much tense that you are not able to, now only 1 month is there, I want to study everything. But don't be tense. Gather, gathering lots of quantities just for information. While you are writing your exam, you will not be able to present it properly. But in the case of quantity, the collecting the data, it will be helping you to write properly in your exam. It will be helping you to write the whole points in your exam. Next point is stay positive. Positivity is the key for the success. The learning, the ability of learning and the emotion is having a direct correlation. Whenever we are not in a positive attitude, we will be in stress and bored or afraid situation. That time we will not be as productive as we are staying in the positive. So be positive, not even realistic. If you are becoming realistic, it could be happen. If you are negative, it will not happen. But if you are positive, it will happen. So be positive that you will succeed. Next, this is the best thing you should do from today onwards. That is solve previous question paper. That is already available in our website. That is, it will help us to know the format of the exam, and you will be able to know how to manage the exam. So you should. This is a must thing. You should solve the previous question paper. Explain your answers to others. Or different students are of different styles. Some likes to be group study, some like to be single learners. When you are in group, you should do this. That is, explain your answers to others, so that you can know that you are explaining it properly. You will be knowing that how much you remember and which portion you are lacking behind, and you can give more time on that area and find out what all measures can be done for writing the exam. Take care of your health. You know that what is the situation around us. Take good breakfast, healthy lunch, and light dinner, so that your mind will be always alert and you can work actively the whole day. And hydrate yourself properly, and good nutrition is vital for optimum thinking. Get enough sleep. Sleep is, everyone likes sleeps more, but it is not adequate sleep you should have. You should not wake up all the night. When you are properly studying, having proper sleep, it will be developing your short-term memory to long-term memory. So whatever you are studying now, you will be remembering when you are sitting in the exam hall too. So sleep is vital for health and performance and well-being. Now we have seen how to be smart. Now we are moving to the exam preparations. You all know that it is Maulika Siddhantha paper is 100-mark paper. Only one paper is there. It is having two parts, part A and part B. Part A comprises 60 marks and part B 40 marks. And part A is having Ashtanga Hridaya, Sutrasthana, first 15 chapter. And part B is having Ashtanga Hridaya, Sutrasthana, 16 to 30 chapter and Maulika Siddhantha portion. So you can see the importance of first 15 chapter. That is 60 marks is coming from, 50 mark questions are coming from first 15 chapter. And it comprises one essay question, that is one 10-mark question, 7 5-mark questions, and 5 3-mark questions. And in the case of part B, again one essay questions will be from the part B, and 3 5-mark question and 5 3-mark question. So how much important is the first 15 chapter of Sutrasthana in Ashtanga Hridaya paper? You can understand from this distribution itself. So prerequisites for the preparations are, pick the topic which is important for studying. Now only 1 month is there. You should pick the topic and study. And study according to the topic importance. Make the revision notes that we have already discussed. Keynote notes should be prepared so that you can elaborate it into 10, 5 and 3 marks. Make sloka book and make notes for the must know topic. This is must for Maulika Siddhantha portion. Then, how to pick the topic? Select the topic based on must to know, desirable to know, and nice to know. Most of the question, about 70 to 80 percentage of questions will be coming from must to know topics. And 20 to 10 percentage, 10 to 20 percentage will be coming from desirable to know. And in the UG cases, only 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, maximum 5 percentage questions may be only coming from nice to know. And you can also refer the previous question bank. Question bank is available. You can see in the website, and you can ask your seniors also to mark down which all you should study. Now we can see which all are must study and must know and all. So in the whole first 15 chapter, I have already said that chapter 1 to 15 is the most important while you are studying Ashtanga paper. The first, from the among first 15 chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 chapter must to know chapter. It is must to know chapter itself. So remaining we can keep in desirable to know. So, in the first chapter, which all are the must know topic means all the slokas, that is from 1 to 34th sloka, it is must know. That is the basic principles of Ayurveda. So, 1 to 34th sloka, it is must know topic itself. You should by heart that all, and it is most of the questions for the essay as well as 5 marks as well as 3 marks is asked from the first chapter. And chapter 2, I'm keeping the first chapter, the second chapter is Dinacharya Adhyaya. In that, all the Dinacharyas are explained from 1 to 18th sloka. It is must study that 1 to 18th sloka, and it should be prepared properly as note and by heart that slokas. And Satvritha, among the Satvritha, Deshavita Baba. And desirable, I'm keeping the Satvritha and desirable to know because about in that chapter, about 29 slokas, about 3 to 4 pages are saying about Satvritha. In that, 70% of sloka is not needed to by heart, and it is required only 30%. And you can categorize in it like this, that is Sattvrita, Ahara, Vihara, Achara. Based on that, you can divide it. And under Ahara, do's and don'ts, under Vihara, do's and don'ts, and Achara, Kaya, Vak, Manas, what all Sattvrita you should follow, and personal, social, and behavior, what all things you should follow. Likewise, you should make a smart chart, and you should make a 5-mark note and keep so that you can present it properly in the exam. And the third chapter, it is Ridhucharya. There the must-know topics are Kala Vibhaga and Lakshana. Each Ritu Lakshana, Hamsodaka, Ritu Sandhi. This much shloka you should by heart. The Ritu Lakshana means each Ritu, the first 2 lines are saying about the Ritu's characteristics. That each Ritu's characteristics. So that you should by heart. All these, if you are by heart, that is the must to know. And desirable to know, each Ritu's will be asked for 5 marks. So each Ritu, these all points you should keep in your mind. That is, it is from which Kala, which Ayana, and what is its guna. You can see short sloka 55 and 56 there. It is particularly saying each Ritu's guna and which rasa is predominant in that particular Ritu. Dosha Cheyadi, that is Choksha, Cheya, Prakopa, Prashama in that particular Ritu, and why it is happening. And always we are forgetting the contraindications, that is which all things should not be done in that particular Ritu, that you should know. And it should be, you should look for the Ahara as well as Vihara, and special Ahara, Viharas and Patya set for that Ritu you should note down and you should write it properly. And make a small note for each Ritu. For 5 marks, each Ritu you want to see that if it is asked for 10 marks also, you can elaborate with all these points. And chapter 4, must know slokas are 1 to 24th sloka. It is Dharani and Adharaniya Vekas. You should by heart that. It is important question from that. And 36th sloka, it is the definition of Aroga. That also you should by heart. And remaining everything is nice to know. That much only is there. You should read it and understand that. So that if it is come, see, if some question comes, you want to just mention what is that. And So we have seen the first 4 chapter. I have already said it is must know chapter, and second now we are moving to the desirable to know chapter. That's chapter 5. In that also some topics are must know. That is some varkas you should prepare for 5 marks. That is Jala Varka, Shira Varka, and Thaila Varka, etc. is mostly asked varka. So for that 5 marks you should prepare some note and keep. You should know what all are the ingredients in that, what all gunas are there for, so that make a smart art for that and prepare that. And the definitions of the Ganga, Ushna Jala, Naligeru, Dhati, Takra, Gritha, Madhu, Taila. If you're studying the sloga of these things, that is sufficient from this particular chapter. And remaining varga the same way, it is desirable to know. Again, in desirable to know, again desirable to know, that much relevance already is there. Just understand, make some smart art and keep as a note. So that if it is asked also, you can elaborate it to the answer. And chapter 6 must know is Ahara Drevya Vargikarana, Trijata, Chaturjata, Peya Vilevi, Saindava, Pancha Panchamula, Deshamula, Triphala. These are previously asked questions. So this itself is repeatedly asked in the last 6 years. So you can see this. This itself you should try to by heart. And desirable to know is Mamsavarka, Aushadhavarka, Nagara, likewise some drugs. So that if it is asked also, mostly these 2 chapters, the 5th and 6th chapter, the mostly asked questions are mostly used for our regular purpose. Most which we know, such things only will be asked from these 2 chapters. Now, moving to the chapter 7. Here you want to give more importance to the previously asked questions, because mostly it is asked. The must know study topics are Vishadhata Lakshana, Agni Pariksha. These slokas you should by heart anyway. Viruddha definition, who all are not affected by Viruddha. Satmikarana Krama, that is 48 and 50th sloka. Nidra, you should detailedly study. And mostly asked 10 mark question is Trayobastamba. So you should prepare a note for Trayobastamba for 10 marks. In that you should write what is Trayobastamba and which all are that in Nidra, Brahmacharya, and its ahara. You should detail it and try to prepare a 10 mark note now itself. And Viruddha also sometimes can be asked for 10 marks. So in the Viruddha, when you are writing for 10 marks, you should write the Viruddha definition. Then you should write some Viruddha articles you should write. Then you should write about the who all are not affected with Viruddha, and then Satmikarana Krama in detail you should write, so that you can fill the whole paper and you will be fetching good marks. And you should prepare must a notice for 5 mark for Vishakta Anna Pariksha, Viruddha and Saviksha Anna Lakshana. So these are the must thing you should do for the chapter 7. And chapter 8, the must study the portion is Amapadoshajavyati, Ajirna, and Anupana. This is the mostly asked questions from this particular chapter. Other all concepts are desirable. And chapter 9, now again we are starting from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14 are must know chapter. All the slokas of the 9th chapter is must know. All the slokas are important. Try to by heart the chapter 9. And chapter 10 the same way. Resodpatti, Shat Rasa Lakshana, Shat Rasa Guna and Karma and its Adi Yoga is must know portion. And remaining Ganas and 36 types of Rasa are nice to know. And chapter 11, this is also very, very important topic. Already you might have studied. That is, whole the chapter is must to know. There dosha prakriti, vikriti, kshaya lakshana is important. Asraya bhava in dosha and dhatu. It is a must know portion. Chikilsa, vritti and kshaya. And ojas, chikilsa, vritti and kshaya. Even though you don't know the sloka, you should know the concept properly. By even in the Viva also you will be getting questions from those portions. So you should know its concepts properly. And Ojas, Ojak, Kshaya, Vritti and Aushata is very, very important. Then chapter 12, it is here also must to know topics are almost all the chapter is important. That is dosha sthana, panchavida vada, panchapitta, panchakapa, Chaya Prakopa Prashama, Ridudosha Sampanda, and Dosha, its chief slokas are there. You should by heart that sloka, it's very, very important. Trivida Karana, Roga Marga, Sotantra and Paratantra Vyati, Guru and Leku Vyatita, Deshavita Pariksha Bhav. And in this, you should keep in mind that even though you are not, that is Ridudosha Sampanda, dosha is chief cause, Swatantra Paratantra Vyadi, Guru and Laku Vyadi. Even though you are not by hearting this sloka, you should know the concept properly so that you can present it properly in the paper. And required to know portions are Trivada Roga, Vritha Dosha Karma, Dosha Gati, etc. And remaining, that is Dosha Sankhya, Dosha Samyoga Sankhya is there in that particular chapter that you should know. That is nice to know topic. And chapter 13, this is also another important chapter. Vadasya Upakrama, Pittasya Upakrama, Kapasya Upakrama. You should must by heart that slokas. Dosha Sanchara, Samadosha Lakshana, Ama, Samadosha Chikilsa. That is Dosha Chikilsa, its concept you should if you are not able to by heart the sloka, you should know the concept properly and present it properly in smart art and write in paper. And Aushadha Sevana Kala also is must to know topic. And nice to know Sthani and Agantu Dosha, Sadharana Kala, and remaining all on that chapter is nice to know only. Then chapter 14, study the concept well. It is must to know chapter. Even though you don't know that particular chapter sloka, you should know that all concepts explained in that. That is Dividopakrama, Lankhana type, Shodhana, Shamana, treatment principles of Lankhana and Brimhana, Samyak Lankhana Lakshana, Ati Brimhana Lakshana, Karshyamev Varam Staulya, such a slogam is there, its explanation. Everything. Represent it in some smart chart. You can prepare charts as well as flow chart, etc. Boxes you can prepare. Likewise, tables you can prepare and keep in that, so that it will be presented properly in the paper as well as in the Viva also. You can present it perfectly. So study the concept properly in the chapter 14. Remaining every concept is nice to know. And chapter 15, first 7 gana, try to by heart. That is must to know is first 4, that is Chardana gana, Vilechana gana, Niruhana gana, and Shido Vilechana gana. Till now, Chardana gana, last 6 years, if you are seeing, only Chardana gana was asked. So try to by heart the first 7 ganas, remaining everything we can keep under the desirable to know and nice to know. Now, we have seen the first 15 chapter. We are moving to the remaining, that is 40 marks, that is part B, that is chapter 16 to chapter 30 and Maulika Siddhanta portion. In that also, the chapters 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21, you should detailedly study. Remaining everything, even you study the must-know topic, you can score marks. Only from the must-know topics only the questions will be coming from the remaining portion. The first, that is 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20 and 21 is mostly from the Panchakarma portions of our Ayurveda. So mostly the questions are coming from that, and mostly the essay questions are coming from these portions, including, we can include 22 chapter for essay questions also. So that chapters is mostly coming for the essay questions in the B part. So we can see that must know topics of the chapter 16. It is Snehana Yogya, that is indications and contract indications of Snehana. Pravicharana Snehapana, that is must to know, that is 5 mark question. You should prepare a note and study. Sneha Matra Anusara Pedha, types of Sneha based on Matra. Then Snehopachara, Samyak Snigdha Lakshana, Sathyu Sneha, that is, this much is Snehopachara, Samyak Snigdha Lakshana and Sathya Sneha. You should by heart the slokas. Then Sathya Sneha, you can prepare for 3 marks as well as 5 mark, a small note. And desirable to know is Sneha Drivya and its properties, Vidukshana, Sadhyopa, Sneha Panapala, etc. You can keep as desirable to know. The must know topic you should surely know from the chapter's history. Now moving to chapter 17, Sneha Prakara, Sweta Prakara, Sweta Vidhi, Sweta's indications and contraindication, and Nirakni Sweta. You should by heart the sloka of Nirakni Sweta and Sweta Prakara. Remaining, even the indications and contraindications of Svetana, if you're by hearting the sloka is well and good. If not possible to by heart the sloka, make smart art on that. Make a column or table and study it properly, the indications and contraindications as well as the different Sveda Prakara. Nirakni Sveda Sloka you should by heart. And chapter 18, study the concepts properly from the chapter 18. Try to represent more smart chart in this particular smart arts you should prepare in the chapter 18. It has mostly indications and contraindications of Vamana is important. Indications and contraindications of Virejana is important. Vamana, Virejana Vidhi is important. Samyak yogas of Vamana and Virejana is very, very important. Hina Adi Yoga also prepare a smart chart and keep. And Payadikrama, Samsarjana Krama or Payadikrama is very, very important point in this particular chapter. It may ask for 5 marks. So make a 5-mark question for answer for that particular Payadikrama. And remaining everything in from this chapter is nice to know. And chapter 19, it is Vasti Vidhi. In that also, the same with Vamana and Vasti as well as Sneha and all. This its vidhi, that's its procedure is very, very important. In all these Panchakarma portions we are going forward also, you should know the vidhi properly, the procedure to do that particular thing. You should prepare the notes, it's Purva Karma, Pradhana Karma, Paschat Karma, and in the Pradhana Karma you should add a point that is Samyak Lakshana. That by seeing the Samyak Lakshana only you can stop that particular vidhi. So you should always think that when you are writing a note on the, if you are writing the answer for the procedure of that particular thing, Purva Karma, Pradhana Karma, under Pradhana Karma, you should write the Samyak Lakshana. Then only we can stop that particular thing. Then you should add Paschat Karma. Likewise, you should write the Vidhi. So in the Vasti Vidhi, the important points are indications and contraindications of Vasti, Vasti Vidhi, Niruha Vasti Dravya Kalpana, that is taking the Dravyas properly, that is very important. And Matra Vasti, it will be asked for 5 marks. Kala Vasti, Yoga Vasti, Karma Vasti, any one of these are more frequently asked for 3 marks. And Uttara Vasti, prepare a 5-mark answer for that particular thing and keep aside. That's Uttara Vasti is important. And importance of Vasti, if you're studying properly, you can add that particular quotation as well as its properties in every question which is asking from Vasti Vidhi. And remaining everything, you prepare some smart art and flow charts for the remaining portions in that particular chapter. And chapter 20, it is Nasya Vidhi. In that, Nasya Veda, indications and contraindication, Nasya Vidhi, and Pratimarsha Nasya is must to study. Pratimarsha Nasya, it has been asked for several times. 5 marks it will be asked. So, as well as 3 marks also it is being asked for Pratimarsha Nasya. So, prepare a keynote note for that so that you can expand it into 5 as 3 marks. And preparation of Anutaila and Nasya Bala is desirable to know, and remaining everything is nice to know. And chapter 21, the whole chapter, the mostly this particular chapter is seen for the whole chapter together. The Dhumapana Vidhi, like this, will be asked for 10 marks. So in that, you should add these all points. It's the indications and contraindication. Dhuma Yogya Kala, Dhuma Yendra, Dhuma Pana Vidhi, Dhuma Varti. This it's preparation. And Dhuma Panabala. I didn't say that you should by heart all the sloka. I'm saying that you should know all these things, represent it in smart art, and write it in the paper so that you will be getting good marks. And desirable to know is Kasakna Nuba. Only an extra point in that chapter is Kasakna Duma. And from now, chapter 22, it is also Gandushadi Vidhi. In that, Gandusha and Kavala, you should know, for must know, it will be mostly asked for 3 marks, and it together can be asked for 5 marks. And Pratisarana, Murtha Thaila. In this particular chapter, Murtha Thaila is the most important point. Try to, sometimes if it is asking for 10 marks, Murtha Thaila is the only thing which can be asked for 10 marks. So if it is asked for 10 marks, you should write Murtha Thaila and different types of Murtha Thaila, its indications, and Shiro Vastivadi in detail, and Murtha Thaila Phala. This much point should be there for 10 marks. So prepare a note for 10 marks for Murtha Thaila. Only one 10 Kumar question can be asked from this chapter is Murtha Thaila, and Mudaleba and Karna Purna is desirable to know. And from chapter 23 and chapter 24, it is mostly Shalakya topic. Use smart arts for that particular thing. Study its types, vithi, indications and contraindication. Prepare a smart art note for that particular thing, so that you can, if it is asked for, if vithi altogether is being asked for 10 marks or 5 marks or 3 marks, you will be able to elaborate that smart art and write it properly. And chapter 5 to chapter 25 to chapter 30 is Shalya topics. And in this particular chapter, if you are studying the must know topic alone, you will be getting that that only will be coming for the paper mostly. Till now only that is come. So first one is Yandra Vidhi, 25th chapter is Yandra Vidhi. In that, the must know topics are Yandra Nirbhajana, Yandra types and name, Anuyandra and Yandra Karma. You should by heart the slokas of that. And desirable to know is Yandra type and types. And the first Yandra, that is Swastika Yandra. Once or twice it has been asked Swastika Yandra. You should know that what all are the descriptions of that. And no need to by heart the sloka, but you should know what all the description of that. And make smart art on Yandra Bheda. Then 26th chapter, again the must know topics are important. Shastra Nirvarjana, names of Shastra, types and use, Anushastra, Shastra Karya, Shastra Dosha, and the most important topic in this particular chapter is Jaluka Vacharana. Jaluka Vacharana is continuously asked several times. Last 2 exams it has been asked. So Jaluka Vacharana, how to do that, it's Vidhi. You should properly prepare a note and keep. Mostly it is asked for 5 marks. And different types of Rakta Mosha, that is, it's where all it is indicated. Make a small smart art and keep that so that you can refer it before going to read the exam. And remaining everything, that's types of Shastra, Shastra Grahana Vidhi, Shastra Kosha, etc. is nice to know only. And chapter 27, that is must to know, that is here, must to know topic, that is Siravita Anarha, that is contraindications of Siravita, and Shuddha Rakta Lakshana. That much only is needed from that particular chapter. Remaining everything is nice to know. And chapter 28, must know topics are Shalyagati and Shalyaharana Vidhi. Those Shalyaharana Vidhi, make a 5-mark notes using smart art so that it will be well and good. And remaining everything is nice to know. And chapter 29, qualities of surgeon, is explained in that particular chapter, 2 lines sloka that you should by heart. And Bandhana, its benefits and types. This is a must know topic in that is continuously asked question. Bandhana, its benefits and types. Bandhana Prakara, likewise question will be coming. You should know it properly. And remaining everything desirable to know in that Trivada Shobha Lakshana. There is some 1 or 2 times it has been Pachimana Shobha Lakshana as well as Pakka Shobha Lakshana, etc. is asked. So you should know that, so that it is kept for desirable to study. That is Trivada Shobha Lakshana and Sivana, and remaining everything is nice to know. And last chapter of Ashtanga-hridaya, that is Kshara Agnividhi. In that, Kshara Nirmana and Kshara Guna. Kshara Guna is a must question of 3 marks. Always Kshara Guna will be coming for 3 marks. And Kshara Nirmana Vidhi and Kshara Guna together will be asked for 5 marks. So prepare beautifully a note of Kshara Nirmana and Kshara Guna. It's a must and must to be learned topic. And Agni, that is Pramada Dakta Lakshana, that also you should know. And remaining everything is nice to know in this chapter. And now we are moving to the Maulika Siddhanta portion. And in Maulika Siddhanta, you know that Ashta Prakriti, Tantra Guna, Tantra Dosha, Kashilya, Kalpana, Arthasraya is the topic points which is set. So prepare a note for each topic for 5 marks. It can be asked only Ashta Prakriti can be asked for 10 marks. Remaining everything only will be asked for 5 marks and 3 marks only. So you should know what is that particular thing and its which all are its types and at least its name and what is its meaning. This much you should know. Prepare some smart art for that and properly write it and study it properly and revise it prior to entering to the exam. So Maulika Siddhanta portion, Ashta Pragati, you should know each term, its definition and smart art. Make a smart art properly to present it properly in the paper. Remaining everything, know the definition. Tantra Guna Sloka you should by heart and know the meaning. Tantra Dosha, Taschilya, Kalpana, Arthasraya, etc. Enumerate it and at least know that particular meaning. And Tantra is not there in the syllabus, then also once or twice it has been asked. So prepare a note for 5 marks for that also. And these are the questions mostly asked, previously asked questions in question bank. And this is for 5 marks and this is for 3 marks. That you can see in the if you are seeing our website, you can get the question bank. And preparations, how to write the note, how to memorize the sloka, how to study the concept. All these has been detailedly dealt by the prior presenter as well as last year's webinar. If you're going and seeing, you can write, study well to how to write the notes and how to memorize the sloka and how to study the concept. Please refer that. And how to prepare for the exam prior to the exam. Only 1 or 2 days will be there to the prior to the exam. Then stay calm and gather your materials, put your phone away and make a list to study. That is must to study topic, must to know topic should be read prior to the exam. Find a quiet place, prepare yourself for the exam, sleep well to boost your memory, wake up early than usual. And it is, in the case of Maulika Siddhanta, it is first you should prepare the must to know topics of first 15 chapter and next 16 to 30 chapters must to know, and then only you should move to the Maulika Siddhanta portion, and before getting into the exam you should reverse that Maulika Siddhanta portion once more. Then only you will be remembering that all terms while you are going for the exam. So we have prepared everything. Now exam has reached. Now how to write the exam? All the presenters prior have said this, but I'm changing the time schedule little because I'm reducing the 180 minute into 170 minute, so that only 17 minutes you should give for the 10 mark question, that essay question. In that 2 minutes you need for thinking how to write that particular thing, how to present that essay question in that particular thing. Think and write. Read the question properly, think how to write it for 2 minutes and present it within 15 minutes. At 15 minutes, you should stop that question and move forward. And for 5 marks, 8 minutes I am giving 1 minute for thinking how to write it. And 3 mark question, 5 minutes, 1 minute for thinking. Why I am saying this? Because if you are doing like this, remaining 15 minutes you will be getting. Surely for Maulika Siddhanta, while you are writing the exam, you will be forgetting the slokas. And you will be keeping, while writing, you have found that you know only one pada, you will be stopping there and thinking that sloka for the whole exam time. It should not be done. If you are feeling that you have forgot the sloka, stop there, leave some space and write the whole answer properly and move forward. And if at last you will be getting that 15 minutes, you can come back to the each answers and complete that. When that time you will not be stressed. So you can come back and complete the sloka properly and review the paper once more. So like for that purpose, I have said that for the Maulika Siddhanta, not other than all other subject, more sloka you are studying in Maulika, this particular Ashtanga Hridaya and Maulika Siddhanta paper. So you should be following this particular thing so that you can properly present slokas in the paper. Slokas are must to be presented in the paper. So this you should keep in the mind. And how to structure your answer? You should have an introduction, it should have a content and conclusion. And 10-mark question, already Katil sir has explained. Here once again I am saying it should have an introduction, reference should be there, definition should be there, subject proper should be there, and smart art should be added. And if you know cross reference, that also can be added, and conclusion should be there. And case of 5 marks, you can see it had been from the 10 marks, introduction has been cut short, only reference is there, definition is there, then short subject proper, and large smart art. So whatever you have explained in the 10-mark question, that all should come into a large smart art in this particular 5-mark question. And a short conclusion only is needed in the case of 5-mark. Most of the peoples are having this problem that whatever we are asking the question, you are saying that where to cut short. That cut shorting is that cut short it into large smart art, so that you will be also feeling that I have written everything and it will be proper also. And the 3 marks, definition and subject proper itself only is needed. And if you are knowing smart arts, represent it in smart art, it will be well and good. And keep these points in your mind. In Maulika Siddhanta and Ashtanga paper, use all the technical terms should be in Sanskrit itself. Write it in Devanagari Lipi itself. And point-wise narration is good. Sloka should be written with 4 padas and highlight it and make it properly written and labeled. Strike off, if you're feeling that something is wrong, strike off the answers with single lines only. Don't make it rubbish. It will be causing it a bad impression for the examiner. And answer size, I am saying for other universities, for Rajiv Gandhi University specifically, the pages are given for writing, fill it up. That is 10 for 10 marks, 6 pages you should fill. 5 marks, 2.5 page. For 3 marks, 1 page is must. And don't write irrelevant answer. If you don't know answer, don't write irrelevant answer. Don't make the examiner feel bad about you. And in spacing between the answer, it should not be too much and too less. That is, one paragraph you're writing and leaving a 2-3 lines and then writing, it will be showing so much space in between. It should not be too spacey and it should not be too less also. And don't make unnecessary spelling mistakes. Read the questions properly, understand the question and write. All the students are having tension while you are facing the exam. Don't become tense so much. See the question paper properly, see the question number, see that while getting the question booklet itself, see that all the papers are there. On that particular question numbers, it will be written in the answers bank booklet. Write the answers generally in that and read the question properly, understand and write the answer of that question itself. And no need of unnecessarily diagrammatic representation. Simply don't draw which is not relevant in that particular context. Now, next thing most of the students are fearing in the case of Viva voice and practical exam. Before saying about that, we can see what is the thing. In Maulika Siddhantha and Ashtanga Hridaya, 50 marks practical exam it is. And for practical exam, writing exam, it is 20 marks. And for Viva, 20 marks. And records, 10 marks. And practical exam or written exam is based on the examiners who are doing your exam. It is mostly likewise for 10 marks you will be asked to write slokas from different contexts or different chapters. 4 padas should be there. So study well 10 slokas before you go for the practical exam. Without any spelling mistake, represent it properly. You can get directly 10 marks. And the remaining 10 marks, sometimes it will be divided into 5 marks. Sometimes it will be 10-mark question. Sometimes it will be 2-mark question. It will be from the must-know topic only. So you should know the must-know topics, everything, and go for the practical exam. So you will not be losing any mark from the written. Then 10 marks for your record. You have already done your records and it will be fetched. The mark will be about not less than 7 marks will be getting. For good written record, you will be getting good marks. There itself, your tensions will be overing. Then Viva voice. No teacher is coming for excusing you or taking your juice and drinking, or not for that purpose any examiner is sitting. So don't worry about it. Every teacher also has gone through these process of Viva voice. So don't be afraid of any teacher. Even a teacher who is sitting both also, for 1 year is also sitting with the external who is sitting. No teachers will not be causing any problem for you. So be calm down, believe in yourself, be in good attitude, dress good while you go, read all the must know topics and know the rules. That is one thing. Before to the Viva voice or practical, the prior day you should meet the particular teacher. At which time morning I should reach here, that you should inquire to the each teacher or each institution. Which time I should reach to the department for attending my practical, you should go and ask. Otherwise, you will be late and it will be a bad impression. And don't worry, no examiner is sitting to ask you only sloga. If you are explaining the concepts well and good, it is good. That is, a first year UG person only is needed to know the basic things. If you are knowing the basic things, well, good, you are pass in your exam. And don't worry, all the best for all the students who are facing the exams, and thank you for all for the patient hearing. And I'm thanking Dr. Devi Ganesh sir for giving me a chance to present my view for the students. And I'm thanking Dr. Sapna as well as Mr. Ganesh Krishna sir. They both has helped. They are my colleagues in my department. They both have helped me for my presentation, for presenting it confidently. And Dr. Manu, he is a coordinator and he is a wonderful person who has coordinated this wonderful webinar. And Mr. Pritchwell, he has helped me to do all the technical things in this particular webinar. And not least my family and my dear son Niranjan, he has given his time for making such a presentation. And all the persons, if I miss someone, everyone, I'm thanking you, the patient hearing persons there. Thank you, students. And not least, thank you, God. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manjusha ma'am, for sharing your knowledge and study techniques. So hereby, we are announcing the release of question bank for Samhita and Siddhantha that will be available to be downloaded from our website www.samch.co.in/step. The link will be shared with all the registered participants shortly. Now, we are moving on to our concluding session led by Dr. Suhas Kumar Shetty.
Sir is presently Principal and Medical Director at KLE Academy of Higher Education and Research, Shri B.M. Kankanawadi Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Belagavi. Sir holds credit over 3 books and more than 57 scientific articles in various international peer-reviewed journals. Sir is recognized as postgraduate and PhD guide at Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Bangalore, Karnataka.
Sir has been awarded with Pratibha Puraskara Award for Social Services in Treatment of Alcoholic Disorders and Paralysis, and Bishop 2018 Best Doctor Award, etc.
Sir has specialized in mental health care consultation, clinical research and research methodology, and medical statistics workshop. We welcome Sir to take over the session. Over to you, Sir.
Am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you able to see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. A very good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, let me thank the organizers led by Dr. Ravi Ganesh and Dr. Manu for inviting me for today's session. And I'll try my best to wind up for the next 15 minutes, giving some of the very important practical tips in how you can take your life forward. And the the title that I have given for today's presentation is Seeing the End in the Beginning. In fact, this is one of the title which comes in one of the book written by Stephen Covey, who has written a book on the 7 habits of successful people. And this is one of them, that we should see the end in the beginning. Dear friends and students, as you are in the beginning of your professional career in your first year BMS, I just want you to focus on where you'd like to end up. You should always see your end points, where you expect yourself in the next 5 years, in next 10 years. So have this in your mind, where you'd like to end up. So have some plans, have some goals, so that it will be easy for you to prepare yourself for your future. So once again, I highly appreciate the initiative that is taken by Sharada Ayurveda Medical College, Mangalore, for this wonderful step called as STEP. So basically, when we say that we are trying to see the end in the beginning, we are looking for trying to gather maximum knowledge, skills, and above all, the attitude towards life. It is not just we are trying to prepare you as a good doctor, but at the same time making you a moral or ethical citizen. So you need to have that social concerns, the concern for your community, the concern for your family, and we expect you to grow as an individual. So that is where probably you need not just restrict yourself to the books or the in-house or inside the classroom teaching. There are a lot of things that you try to learn from each and everything that you come across. Maybe when you travel, maybe when you go to hospital, maybe when you go to a movie, maybe when you are watching something in television. Everything has some lessons to speak in terms of your life. And that is what is very, very important. Try to imbibe the things that makes you more skillful, more competent to lead this life. Because many times you can see that you can come across so many stresses of life. And that is what I want to you quickly give your opinion regarding these 4 questions. So I want the students to, I just know, well, I don't know whether I'll be able to see your inputs, but I think wherever you are, maybe either in this streaming platform or anywhere, maybe even in the YouTube link that you are looking about, kindly answer these 4 questions. Like, what do you mean by stress, or what is your perception about stress? Is stress good or bad? What is that activity which takes maximum time in a given typical day? And dear students, what are your academic, social, and career goals? If quickly you can just pen down your opinion in maybe a minute or so, so I'll be very happy to have your inputs, or if someone can help me to read out if there are any representation by the participants, I'll be very happy. So the first question is, what is stress? Second, whether this stress is good or bad. What is that one activity which takes maximum time? And what are your academic, social, and career goals? So if you can just, if at all there are any inputs by any of the participants to any of these questions, if any of the moderator or the organizers can just pick up and maybe share with me, I'll be very happy. Any inputs so far? Anyway, okay, let's move on. If we have some technical issues. See, you should know about this person called as Hans Sally. who is considered as the father of stress research, who has contributed immensely for the field of research. He says that the only person who do not have stress is a dead person, which emphasizes that each one of us has some or the other forms of stress. So it is not the stress which is important, it is how you respond to the stress. So that is why exam is not important. How you prepare for the exams, how you face the exams, your perception of the exams, your confidence of the exams is more important. And I think you had a wonderful guidance by the experts in the subjects of Kriya Sharira, Rachana Sharira, and today we have from the Maulika Siddhantas, where the teachers have tried to give you a very important practical tips. Try to imbibe all of them and prepare confidently, and that is very important. So basically, what is stress? Like, stress is when the demand or the pressure outweighs the resources. Like when we have more pressure and you have less resources. So basically what you have to do, either you have to reduce your demands or you should increase your resources. In case of exams, you cannot reduce the exam demand. It is definitely there. But what you can do is you can have a better preparation. You can enhance your resources. So basically stress is an individual response to any of the physical or the emotional change that can happen either from outside or from within ourselves. That is why we have two types of stressors, the external stressors and the internal stressors, the environmental stressors and the emotional stressors, the indriyarthas and the manoarthas. So you just try to understand that stress is a form of a speed. It's always good to be going with very speed, but always have the control of the speed. Otherwise, you will end up in accidents. So try to speed up, because in this fast world, there is a lot of technologies and a lot of artificial intelligences. It's a time we also need to go up. We cannot just say Ayurveda is very ancient science, 5,000-year-old science. No. It is equally important that we prepare ourselves for the present generation and we also catch up with this particular race of life. But at the same time, have a clear balance or control of this particular speed. Because if you are not able to have the control of your stress, there will be so many changes that happens in your immune system, endocrine system, nervous system. It emphasizes, it has a great impact on the aging, and we end up having so many psychosomatic problems. So that is why managing the stress at the very initial level is very important. So at the same time, my dear friends, I was telling that seeing the end in the beginning, you should know what are you are going to serve to the society. And that is why you need to know what are the different medical challenges that you need to have whenever you are entering the society. Because you should know what is the type of the healthcare facility we have in our country. What are the different types of government and the private healthcare providers we have in our country. How is the setup of our healthcare system in a city and how it is there in a village. And especially what is the type of the healthcare system in a low middle income country like India. Because this is very important, because so that you can prepare yourself to address, because see in India, if you just tell the things will not move. You need to commit as a policy, and more than policy, you should take it as a movement. And then definitely there will be a lot of changes happening. So try to understand that in the doctor population ratio is from 1:1,4,5,6, which need to be coming to. So we need more number of doctors, and especially most of the doctors are in the urban areas. People, especially those who are specialists or super specialists, do not want to stay in and it has its own challenges. So that's the reason why there should be a balance, and that is where you need to be competent enough. You need to enlarge your skills as a practitioner. See, the most important thing that you should look at this present generation is the mobility. Like people cannot move very far. So you should have some plans like mobile clinics or clinics at the peripheries. So you should try to reach to the community. And at the same time, you should have a practice which is affordable. Because many of, as you know, the people's economy is very less. There is no people, the type of the healthcare system is something very different, where we try to, until unless people have some form of insurance, some form of government facilities, there are which are still not to the level of the higher expectancies. So that's the reason why, rather than moving people, the time is that we try to move the knowledge towards the people. And that is where probably in this age of digital disruption, we need to adopt the newer technologies, newer digital solutions, and newer startups, like something like telemedicine, telemonitoring. I think you all might have heard about Dr. Padmanabh Kamath, who was recently appreciated by the Honorable Prime Minister of India for initiative called as ECG on doorsteps. So the reason I just quoted him is that he's from a cardiologist from Mangalore. So that's the reason why known to me. So that's the reason why just I wanted to tell that. So this is how such initiative can be a movement, and it can help thousands of people in this particular generation. And dear students, try to enhance your knowledge, try to upgrade your skills, because basically we are medical doctors. So each and everything that you learn, how to assess Prakriti, how to assess the patients, how to do Panchakarma treatments, how to do Shalya, how to do Shalakya, Tarpana, Kriya Kalpa, Shara Sutra. So these are the things that you should try to imbibe. And the only thing that I always say is you need to skill yourself, you need to reskill yourself, and you need to upskill in yourself so that you are very competent. And that's the reason why the present newer syllabus of the NCISM will be called as competence-based education or skill-based education. How the syllabus is going to transform your competency-based skills. And that is why you should understand what is the disparities that we have in our healthcare system. Where exactly is the problem? Why people are not coming to Ayurveda? And if at all they come, what is their expectation? What is their perception? So, okay, people do not know there is specialty branches, there is surgery in Ayurveda. People do not know there is a preventive health care. And people think that it is very, so there are so many perceptions about Ayurveda. So that is why probably we should understand what exactly is that. And that is what I'm saying now. You try to get all this basic information other than what you are studying in your syllabus or curriculum. Try to understand the system, because the system needs to be changed. And to change the system, you need to know the system. And these changes should happen at a basic levels. And as individuals, there is definitely different challenges in the college. But dear friends, this is the golden period. Make the best use of your life. Be positive and be ready for the changes of life. No, undoubtedly, there are greater demands of life. Don't waste your time. Have a clear usefulness of your time. There are new situations, new challenges, and always try to share with your friends and the family members. So either you have to fight with the situations or you have to flight. But every time you cannot just flee away from the challenges. So try to understand your strength, try to understand what are the areas where you need to improve, what are the available external opportunities, what are the different challenges that you have. And that is where probably you need to maintain your emotional reserves. So have a very supportive friends and relationship, and be realistic in your expectations. And you can always expect some frustrations, failures, sorrows, etc. But at the same time, don't harm yourself with emotional rage, emotional disturbances. Always be gentle, take care of yourself, be a friend to yourself. There are various types of coping strategies which are available. Use various like meditation, yoga, self-hypnosis. So even today morning also I just underwent Shirodhara, Abhyanga, Patrapinda Sveda, and it is very, very relaxing. It really energizes you and keeps you so relaxed. So it's always good to experience such therapies also. Like you can undergo Tarpana, Shiro Abhyanga, Pada Abhyanga, and you can do among yourself. You can do on your friends. So you can exchange such techniques or skills even on your friends. And there are available manicures which are available where you can practice such techniques. So try to use to the best of the capacities. See, as it said, like practice yoga. Yoga prashamana upaya yoga. Mana prashamana upaya yoga. It's a skills to practice down. It is to mastery the modification of the mind. It is to have the balance of life, equanimity, balance, harmony, etc. And practice some simple basic exercises, yoga, pranayama, dhyana, etc., which will be very, very helpful. So to conclude, I would like to say you can always adapt this particular model called as ABCD 4321 model for your stress management and also have a clear goal of your life. A stands for away from distractions because there are so many distractions like mobile, internet, Facebook, everything. Be very focused when you're studying, have a better planning, prioritize your priority now. The priority is your exams. Studies are most important. Going to picnic or going to movie may not be a priority now. At the same time, relax yourself, enjoy your studies, do a little bit of exercises like maybe for 10 to 15 minutes or at least at least 6 rounds of Surya Namaskara. That is very, very important. Drink plenty of water, at least 3 to 4 liters of water, 3 times. Timely, balanced, healthy food is very, very important. Don't junk yourself. Don't just depend on fast foods because they do not provide you the nutrition. And do a little bit of prayer, dhyana, and at least have one recreational activity, maybe listening to music or dancing or going for a short ride. So always try to imbibe yourself with these activities. So to conclude, so keep track of your time by examining how you spend it. Focus on the priorities of your goal. What are your academic goals? What are your career goals? What are your social goals? See, most important is planning your work is very, very important and be sure to work your plan. So most important is planning and also to ensure that you are undergoing the plan. So be sure to utilize the rehearsal strategies. See the preparatory exams, like what you learn from in class and out of class times. Work to achieve your goals. Change strategies if and when necessary. Minimize stress by making sure that you have time for yourself. Don't waste the time. The time is very, very precious. I would like to quote this reference from Charaka and Ashtanga Hridaya. Nityam hita ahara vihara sevi samikshakari विशेषु असक्तः दातः समः सत्यपरः क्षमावान आप्तोपसेवी च भवन्ति aroga. May you find success in your life, have a clear goal of your life. May you have a very successful, happy studying BMS. Thank you very much. I thank the organizers and may you have a bright horizon for your future life. So I said I'll take 15 minutes. I've taken 15 minutes for a presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for decoding stress and showing us how to handle it, and also how to manage time and set clear goals with regard to our academics and career. Thank you, sir.
We are grateful to have you here, sir. Due to some technical issues, we are postponing our afternoon session of Sanskrit for some ideal day.
The date will be announced very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.